All right, we're here one-on-one with Chris K, and today we have Karmetria with us. Okay, well, Karmetria, great to have you here with us, and let's just jump right into it. So tell us a little bit about what you do at McDonald's.
Thank you, Chris. You know, I have the opportunity to show up every day to represent one of the biggest brands in the world. And I work very closely with our supply chain teams and our DE&I groups. And what does that mean? I look to make sure that our supply chains are inclusive of those businesses that are owned by women, minorities, veteran, LGBT, and disabled business owners.
Well, thank you so much for what you guys do there. It's obviously, as you know, one of a huge points of pride for us, just the diversity that we have in our system and the fact that we've been able over decades to create the number of diverse-owned, minority-owned businesses throughout the country is something that I think distinguishes McDonald's. I understand that this is not a new endeavor. In fact, maybe this started earlier in your career, this passion for this area and the opportunity. Maybe take us back to college, and how did you get started on this path?
This story never gets old. You know, right out of college, I was so excited, a college graduate, degree in hand, but I was not landing my dream job for whatever reason. And so my dad came to me and he said, you know, I'm starting this business. I could really use your business acumen and your energy to help me start this business. And at that time, that's when sustainability and recycling were the trends. And so he was starting a business of sustaining and recycling toner cartridges and printers. And so I said, no, Dad, I don't want to do that. I don't want to work for a small business. And he said, okay. So I went back, Chris, and I continued to pound the pavement. Still didn't land the job. So in about 3 months, I had to go back to my dad and say, okay, Dad, I'm here to help. He said, you know, I can't pay you. I'm just starting this business. But you can move back home, stay in the basement, and let's build this business together. Not what I wanted to do, but I was excited to be able to put my thumbprint on something new and make a difference. And so I became a steward of helping my dad grow his business. I was head down in the business, looking at all of the right corporations that we wanted to have relationships and partnerships with. And I did just that. And so we finally were able to get our first corporate call with one of the big Fortune 50 companies at the time. I went in, I presented the business, we got the contract. After the presentation, the business leaders came over to me and said, we enjoyed your presentation. Think about coming to work for us.
Oh, really? Oh, geez.
And so I got a job offer on a sales call. And so I was so excited to go back home and tell my dad, we got the contract, but I also got a job offer. What do you think? And so that is the start of my career. You know, I've been able to help grow a minority business and also work on the other side of the table and help those businesses get their foot in the door. So I am just extremely proud to have both sides of the table experience in mind.
Yeah, that's an awesome story. Probably a good way to then lead into, so Dad, let's talk about how much you're paying me here. So get a little negotiation on that.
Right.
You've lived it from both sides then. You've lived it from actually being a supplier, being a minority-owned business, to now having stewardship for our efforts in this area. Talk a little bit about what do you see the benefits, the business benefits that accrue to McDonald's and our system from having diversity across our entire supply chain?
Yeah, you know, Chris, in the year 2020, the word supply chain was every other word on the news. Companies that were really trying to get products and goods and services in, supply chains are critical. And so it's really important that supply chains begin to look at suppliers that bring more innovation to the system, suppliers that are competitive, suppliers that can give you new market access, and then those suppliers where we are really helping create job security and economic impact. So doing business with those type of businesses are critical not only for the corporation, but for the small business owner as well. And I see that as a major trend as we go forward and really, really focus on supply chains. We have to be more resilient, we have to be more competitive, and we have to be more nimble. And using diverse businesses will definitely get us there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think over the last couple of years, we've all gotten our PhDs in supply chain, and the
Totally
resilient
agree.
supply chain is now one of those buzzwords you hear everywhere. I think one of the things about McDonald's that I'm certainly incredibly proud of is our focus on communities and the fact that this business is built on our relationships through the restaurants and the communities. I know this is a passion point of yours, not just in your day job working at McDonald's, but also something that you invest in personally on your own time. And talk a little bit about community and how you personally get involved with your community.
You know, I grew up really being raised in service, giving back and volunteering. And I started a nonprofit organization in the memory of my grandmother. My grandmother had a passion for advocating for women through leadership, service, and entrepreneurship. And so growing up, as you could imagine, education was always so important for my family. My grandmother only had an 8th grade education, but she started a business, and that's how she supported the family. So I've been around entrepreneurs all my life. But she was very clear to me that going to get an education was definitely something that helped you sustain not only, you know, your lifestyle and a legacy, but an education is something no one can ever take away from you. So I started a nonprofit for women and girls in helping them really find their purpose in leadership and entrepreneurship. And so we provide tools and resources to help these women find their purpose. And we also do community service projects throughout the year as well, whether it's for women that are homeless, we do back to school programs, and we also focus on women that maybe were veterans as well.
Wow.
And so it is my way of giving back while also creating a legacy for my grandmother and all the things she taught me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, it sounds like, you know, between your dad, between your grandmother, you've had a lot of great influences in your life. Is there someone that stands out or a moment that stands out as being really critical to who you are today?
Yeah, it would definitely be my father. You know, my father and I are extremely close, and really helping him start that business was something that I always take to me. The skills that I learned from that have just stayed with me throughout my corporate trajectory. And the one thing that he always taught me was the value of community and relationships. He would always say, you know, your network is your net worth. So it's the people you know that will help you be successful. These people are resourceful, but they're also thought partners, and they can coach and mentor and train you along the way. And you'll be better for it by having a very strong community and a very strong network. And that is something that I've prided and lived to this very day.
Wow. Well, your dad sounds like a really wise man, and I love that expression of your network is your net worth. I'd never heard that before, but I may steal that. I'll put like a copyright attached to it, but that's a really good one. So thank you so much for being with us here today. Thanks for everything that you and your supply chain partners are doing to make our system stronger.
Thank you, Chris, for the opportunity.